What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be taking a look at where the auction house is at right now in College Football 25 Ultimate Team post-Rivals drop today. Now, the sad part about this drop today, and I'll get into it a little bit, is some of the best cards in this drop are hidden behind the Squad's Gauntlet. Like, they want people to go and grind the Squad's Gauntlet, which I don't do. I'm just not a fan of it. I'm not going to play Squad's Gauntlet because number one, I don't have people to really run with, and number two, I'm too busy playing the regular Gauntlet for Squad's Gauntlet anyway. So that's kind of part of the problem. But I will say this: if you look at some of the new Rivals players, which I want to briefly talk about today, I have a whole video on them. But if you want to look at some of these cards specifically, some of your best cards are behind right here. These 92 overalls that if you play in Squad's Gauntlet, you can upgrade. Connor Pay becomes the best center. You're looking at, where's the next guy that I want to hype up? Hubbard, who is the best left end without the token. With the token becomes even more elite, even better when you're giving him the power boost. Play recognition goes up a ton, which really doesn't matter a whole ton, I guess. So he barely gets much better, but he is the best left end in the game, becomes that. And then if you want to really look at this guy, Andrew Armstrong. This card post-upgrade, guys, becomes next level. He gets 94 speed and route running becomes way better as well. Literally becomes the best wide receiver in the game. So that's the hard part, is a lot of this drop today is hidden behind this. It's not even hidden, but it's behind this. It's behind this Squad's Gauntlet, which I just don't play. I don't play it. I don't have fun playing Squad's Gauntlet, and so it's something I'm not going to do. But that's what's to know with this drop. So if you don't play Squad's Gauntlet right now, honestly, and it's going to sound bad, but a lot of the new Rivals players just aren't for you guys because they're going to be probably just slightly overpriced because of how good they ultimately can get to. So that's something that obviously, is somewhat important to take note of, take precaution of. Now, here's the situation today. Today, we saw new Rivals players. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of them. However, I actually like them, but I don't like how they're behind the big time, the Squad's Gauntlet. But here's where we're at right now in the game. The auction house has been down since basically the Black Friday promo. That has really crashed the auction house, and in a big time way. Now the old Rivals cards, we knew were probably going to get somewhat cheaper today. I said Klubnik probably would go down a little bit. I also did make a note for Lambert Smith. Bear Alexander I thought would get a little bit cheaper today. Another guy that I think we should not sleep on today, especially if you play Squad's Gauntlet, is this card here, O'Donnell Fortune. I think he's a beast of a cornerback. Not necessarily the best, but he's a really good overall cornerback for you guys, especially if you are playing in a Squad's Gauntlet. So those are a couple of guys that I did highlight yesterday. Malachi Moore is another one that his prices went down a little bit that you could pick up, and he would be absolutely outstanding for you guys. Now today, what am I really looking at? Even this Grayson Howard. Again, he's, as long as you're not having him get after the quarterback, he's a beast when it comes to dropping into coverage. Just did have to bring that to your attention, because even him for 70,000 coins is an absolute steal. Now where I'm at right now with the auction house is it's in a weird type of situation. Like it really is. The Northwestern left end looks like is barely being pulled, if at all. But it's like the Rivals cards that I thought should go down really haven't gone down a whole ton. Even a guy like Lovett, I thought would go down just slightly more. His price is still a little bit high. So it's kind of a weird situation. I feel like a lot of it has to do with, I just don't think a ton of people are opening up packs today, and that is causing the auction house to not go down a whole ton. Now, this card for 99,000 coins, I feel like is a decent get. But at the end of the day, that's the price Priestly is going to be. So I don't know, as far as like the new Rivals cards, I would say this, if you want any of them, it's a solid day to buy them. And today's going to be a solid day to buy them. I just don't know if I'm the biggest fan of a lot of them. Like, they're fine, but again, when I'm looking at things, I don't know, outside of like the left end from Northwestern, Hubbard, I don't know how high I am on a lot of them. For me, I'm going to probably maybe pick up Grayson Howard today, and that might be about it. Grayson Howard, I've already got Alexander. If I can get Hubbard for cheap, I obviously will. But I think, after Howard, I'm fine. Like, I don't feel like I need a whole ton else obviously, you know, the new cornerback that came out today really hasn't been pulled a ton either. So I don't know. The auction house is still in a weird situation. I still feel like since last weekend, there haven't been a whole ton of packs opened up on the game. And so I still think if you've got a guy like Cam Newton, if you've got any of the LTDs that we've gotten recently, their prices should be in a fine position. Like this Paul guy, I know there's one up here for $231, but even him, I know there's a new middle linebacker out today. He is still fine in price. So again, I'm not going to overreact to where we're at in the auction house. I know a new middle linebacker did come out today. People are really gassing this card. For me, I don't know how much I love him. He's only 6 feet tall. Does have 88 change of direction, which is probably, you know, the best attribute of the card. But when Danny Stutzman's in the game, it's really tough for me to hype up the card too much. Again, I do think Cam Newton for 1 million coins is not horrible. Diggs, obviously, 700K. Still one of the best. Honestly, the new receiver we got today is just as good as Diggs if you do upgrade him. But most people aren't going to do that. So I don't know. I still think it's, you know, a good time to pick up these cards. A lot of them haven't went up that much in price. But a lot of them are going to stay pretty steady. Like Cooper DeJean, Cam Newton, Kamara. Those are cards that are going to stay pretty steady. We'll see what we do get on Sunday. But like the auction house, I feel like the last couple of drops, the last 2 drops, I've stayed pretty steady on it. It hasn't really changed much, you know. It's not super high right now. It's not super low right now. It's just kind of in that middle ground type of position. And even the new middle linebacker that we got today, the reason he's not expensive is because guess what? We got an LTD linebacker on a Sunday. We got Stutzman, who's super cheap. Like, it's obvious why the card's not really expensive. As far as the new left tackle we got today, the reason he's so cheap is guess what? Kelvin Banks Jr. is in the game, who is just simply better than the new left tackle. So that's a lot of the reason I feel like even the new cards can't get insanely expensive is because guess what? We've, at the end of the day, got better left tackles in the game and just a ton of them. And that's part of the problem. We're seeing a lot of these good cards being put in the game, but we've got good cards across the board. So it's just kind of a weird situation for the auction house. I don't even know how I personally feel about where the auction house is at right now. I'm just kind of stunned at where the auction house is at right now because it's just kind of sitting in this middle ground and there's just not a whole ton going on. Like I said, for me, I think the main guy I'm going to pick up is Grayson Howard. I love him at the outside linebacker position for a variety of reasons. I know he's not necessarily the fastest, but he's got a really good tackler, really good as far as dropping into coverage. And I've got other right outside linebackers that can get after the quarterback. When I need a guy to play coverage, Grayson Howard is a perfect guy to kind of fit that mold. So I don't know how I feel about things right now in the auction house. For me, I'm going to maybe go through and start emptying out some of the extra cards I've got, especially when it comes down to Devin Neal. I've honestly got rid of him. But like Bryce Thornton, I've got 2 of him left. If I can get nearly 600,000 coins out of this card, I think I've got to take advantage of it and try to sell him for that much, which people are going to buy because guess what? He's the best strong safety in the game and people are going to want him heading into Gauntlet this weekend. So those are the things that I'm kind of thinking about of you know, starting to empty out my collection, starting to build that coin count back up. But these recent drops really have not done a whole ton to crash the market. The market's going to stay about where it's at. And again, for me, it is what it is. I'm fine, you know, with where my coins are at. I'm fine with going into the Gauntlet with my squad. I would like to pick up a guy like Cooper DeJean. I would like to pick up, you know, some of these other top guys. But at the end of the day, I don't want to overspend for anybody. So that's kind of the tough situation we currently are in. You guys can let me know your thoughts on where the market's at right now. Do you guys think it's a good time to buy cards? Do you guys think it's a good time to sell cards? I mean, for me, I still think it's a great time to buy some of the new Rivals cards that you guys might want. Isaiah Bond's prices went down just slightly today. But it's just tough. It's tough for me to sit up here and tell you, yeah, it's a great time to, you know, buy each and every one of the Rivals cards. Some of them are even at their bottom, like that outside linebacker and Grayson Howard. He can't go down from here. Like, that's as cheap as he is going to get. As far as the free safety position, I really do like Malachi Moore for 120. I mean, he's better than Caleb Downs for sure. Like, I like Caleb Downs, but Malachi Moore simply is the better option. And honestly, is not very much, much more expensive, if any. So that's something I might do is pick up Malachi Moore today, substitute him in for Caleb Downs, and just hope he can get the job done at a pretty solid level. So that is another guy, I guess, in Malachi Moore that I'm going to look to pick up today. It's just really, really, really tough because I think today is going to be a good day to buy him, and as long as we don't get a strong or a free safety until next week, I think his price is going to hold pretty steady. So maybe Malachi Moore, maybe Grayson Howard, it is a good day to buy a lot of these cards. If you do want Cade Klubnik, he's a good quarterback for his price. Love it. Lambert Smith. A lot of these cards are solid for their value. Even this center, if he goes down in price, I really do like him. But it's just tough because there are so many options at every position. Like I showed you with the left tackle, we've got so many different options. It's tough for me to be like, yeah, this is a great opportunity for you to pick him up. So for me, the main first objective is to get Malachi Morpher. I'm going to try to get him for under 120. At the time you guys see this, he might even be under that. But again, for me, I can't really pick and choose. If I get the card for what I want to get him for, it is what it is at the end of the day. I do like Bear Alexander. If I didn't already have him, I would recommend picking that card up as well because I am a massive fan of him. Like I said, Grayson Howard is the next guy on my list of guys that I really do like. So that's where I'm at. Let me know your thoughts on where the market's at. Those are a couple of guys that I really would look to highlight at picking up today if I were you guys. A couple of guys that I think can take your squad from good to that next level. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.